Hi, it's Hayley Morrison, FX from Funds and Forex, and in this video I'm going to talk about writing out your trading goals. So trading goals, trading plan, kind of a similar thing. You can have it all together on one sheet. However, I've had mine separate. And the reason I've done this is because my trading goals is a little bit more something that I'm writing down for long term. Whereas my trading plan is something that it's kind of essential when I'm sitting down to trade. So there is a separate video on the trading plan. So in this one, I'm just going to cover the trading goals. And again, you can write down whatever you want. This is just to kind of give you an example of what kind of things that may be a good idea to include. You might have more, you might have less, but that's obviously up to you. So the first thing I've got down here on my trading goals example is, why do I want to trade? So I think that's really an important question to write and to answer, sorry, because trading, it can be tough, it can be lonely. And I think sometimes it's good to kind of come back and remember, why we're doing it in the first place. So for example, for me, it's to spend more quality time with the family, meaning, I'm not working 9 to 5, or I'm not having to work away. I can kind of choose what I want to do in that day, because for me, only trading really on a Tuesday, then I can kind of do that. Have a better quality of life, work from home, anywhere on the go. But obviously your whys are basically your reasons. All right. And then the second thing I've got in mind is your expectations of trading. Really think about this one. And what I would suggest is, don't go into trading thinking, right, I'm going to make thousands of pounds within the next year. I think people who come in and they think, well, I want to do this because I want to leave my job ASAP. Or, I want to make, or I want to buy a bedroom house somewhere, or whatever it is. What happens is your expectations are quite high. And then if you're not kind of getting to that goal really quickly, then you're more likely going to make stupid decisions out of desperation. So I would just say, for me personally, I've got written down here, like, don't solely rely on trading for your money. Keep it in your head that, you're all going to have something else on the side, even if that is changing your job. So you might go from working full-time to doing okay with trading, and then maybe jump into something else part-time, so that forex isn't a desperation, it's something that you can grow on the side, so you're not obviously just relying on it. So definitely have another form of income until you're consistent and profitable enough to be able to then obviously leave all other types of work, but just don't expect that to happen really, really quickly. Everybody's different. Patience and discipline are so important, and will be what makes you successful or not necessarily having a good strategy. So just remember to check in on those expectations. The other one I've got in here is, where will I get education from? So in the other video, the first step was, make sure you are having a good source of education. So you may need to kind of look at a few different places that provide different things. You may want to also look at different people, which I would recommend doing anyway. And you will find someone that you really resonate with, that you like that style of teaching. It's like going to school, one lesson you may do really well in because they've got a good teacher, and then let's say you go over another year and the teacher changes, and you just find that actually the subject isn't interesting anymore. And sometimes it's because of the way that it's being taught. So definitely kind of look around. Obviously, I provide free education on the YouTube channel, which you can obviously access the link by going to the website www.fundsandforex.com. And then we've got obviously a Discord and additional things where you can learn further education. But definitely have a little look around, and don't underestimate YouTube. However, it's just sometimes hard because it's not necessarily in step-by-step videos, and you don't know what to look for sometimes, so it can be quite tricky learning on YouTube like that, which is why obviously mine's more of a step-by-step guide. When will I set time to study? Now, this is important in remembering in the first document that's there, steps, is basically always be learning, forever learning. Don't ever think, right, I know it all now. So even if that's 30 minutes a day at the beginning, and then, when you get a certain level, just make sure you're still checking in with listening to the people, and just practicing and learning all of the time. So even like, an hour, for example, on a Tuesday, which is something that I do, just make sure that you've got that set in your goals. What type of trading would suit my character? So this is actually really important, I would say, when you're starting out. So at the beginning, you're going to learn obviously different trading styles. And with this, it's good to know, what kind of character, what kind of personality do you have. So for example, I'm quite impatient. So knowing that, I know that anything that involves trading, where trades are going to last, weeks or months even, which is what you call a swing trader or swing trading, doesn't really appeal, doesn't really suit my personality. So straight away that I know that any type of strategy that I'm looking at, I need to be in and out of that trade within a day, which is like an intraday trader, or at least 2 days, but ideally within a day. So therefore, when I'm now looking for, what I'm going to trade and the strategy that I'm going to trade, this will help. Some strategies you can do on any time frame, but definitely when you're working out your trading plan and you're working out your entry criteria and your exit criteria, you need to know, what kind of trader that you want to be, and it's good to go off, what is your personality. Patience and discipline are key, but if you're impatient, it is something you need to work on. So self-development plan, got that in next. It's good to work on yourself, and I've done so much self-development work since I started trading forex almost 6 years ago. Learned so much, and so it's definitely worth assessing your strengths, your weaknesses, and be prepared to always learn and develop your own skills and knowledge. It's going back to that learning thing, but not just learning about being a trader, but just developing yourself, your mindset, getting rid of those limiting beliefs so that you can become the person and become the trader that you want to be. So I would say definitely work on a self-development plan. And then going down to more trading things, like when do I want to trade? So if you're saying, I don't know what strategy and I don't know what currency I want to trade, it's worth asking yourself first, when are you able to trade? So you might be working full time, or you might say, well, actually, I get a Monday morning or a Tuesday morning, I work from home, and you might kind of want to sneakily have a little bit of trading time within that period. And then it's important to kind of identify when you're able to sit down and trade, so that you can look at, right, well, what session is this I'm trading? So for me, I've got here, as I live in the UK, I plan to trade the London session, in the London New York crossover session. So I'm going to sit down my computer between 7 and 2 o'clock, and ideally on a Tuesday, but between Monday and Thursday, that's when I want to sit down. When you can physically trade, then you can look at, also in conjunction with what kind of trader you are, you can look at, right, what do I want to trade? So for me, I trade in currencies. Because I'm trading the London New York crossover session as well, I want to be trading ideally the pound US and the euro. I don't want to be trading anything that's too slow, because that personality type, I'm a little bit impatient, so I need to stay in movement. And because I want to be in and out within that day, I need to know that I can get some good risk to reward trades, and like I say, be in and out that day. So the next one on this would be that I've got down is, what gains do I plan to see? So some people say, be specific of what you want, write it down, manifest it. And I definitely think that's a good idea. But I think having expectations of money from forex can be slightly different. It can create obviously a little bit more pressure for people. And then when there's pressure, that's when emotions involved. And that's where bad decisions can be made. So for me personally, I wrote down, I like to say around 4% gain per week. And I've just put some figures in there just to give you an idea what that could look like. But personally, if you are going to set yourself gains with forex, definitely focus on pip gains and percentage gains, not money. And as you grow and you see how your strategy is working and what the percentages you're making, then you're not really going to be that emotional when it comes to the money side. It's just going to be purely, the percentages and the pips. However, it may be good to still have a vision board, and you can still write down things like within your life, which could be jointly from your other income and then your forex on the side. You might put down and say, right, well, I want to be making £10,000 a month. And that's what you're manifesting, and that's what you're focusing on. And if that kind of comes about doing forex, then that's a bonus. But just be careful when you're setting your goals, especially at the beginning, until you can fathom out how you are as a trader. Sorry, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm keep having to pause it because I keep getting interrupted. Excuse me. So the next thing I've got in here is, what will be my percentage risk? So basically, a great educator used to say, your risk is your profit regulator. So once you set your risk, then you know you're aiming to gain like from that risk. So for example, I'm only going to risk, say, my maximum per trade is 1%. But then if I'm going for a strategy where it's like, you know, 4 to 1, and 1 to 4, so 1% risk, 4% gain, then obviously that's kind of what I'm gaining, but from my risk. So sometimes it's easier to put that risk down there first. And then I've got obviously per day maximum 2%. So every time I put a trade in, you know, I will risk no more than 1%. And even if your lot size allows, say if it's only like a 5 pip stop loss and you know it's a whatever pip gain, your strategy may say, well, actually, you know, you can put 2% into this. I just think as well, from mindset reasons and to protect your account, sometimes it's good like working on a lower percentage, especially at the beginning when you get started as well. And then, for example, put down what your maximum per day percentage is. That means, you know, once you've lost that 2% that day, you're not allowed to trade anymore. And then also it's wise to have a max per week percentage loss as well, risk. So for me, right down there, I've got 4%. If I'm losing 4% in a week, it's not really great. And you know, there may be something wrong with the markets or with me or whatever. It could be loads of different factors. But it's good to kind of have those limits so that you're not over trading and making a big massive dent in your account, which then really just set your mindset off on a tangent, a negative one. And then finally, I've just got on the goals, how do I want to trade? And a lot of this will be in your trading plan, but for me, for example, I've wrote down there, you know, I want to adopt a strategy and have a clear plan I would stick to, which removes any emotional decision making out of the process by sticking to the criteria for entering and exiting trades. Having a plan written down and having exact steps you want to do when you're trading, it just makes everything more smooth and less emotional, because you can kind of just, you know, this is what I need to do. And it allows you to trade more like a robot. So you just go bang, 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 not really investing in, you know, if you lose, saying, oh, well, you know, I knew I shouldn't have done that or this or that. You know, it was in your plan, you knew, you expected it to go either, it could have went either way. And you've kind of got that plan there. So I hope this was helpful, trading goals. And then obviously the next video is going to be talking about your trading plan.